Okay. So if we were to start at where people are, I'm going to tell you, we're going to break it down step by step. We take the 7-day clean eating, what defines a signature freebie these days, the game changer is what I call the James Wedmore, Amy Porterfield, Todd Herman model.
Okay.
We are in the time of what we call teaching series. We have teaching series, teaching videos, helping people, because the days of this one signature freebie and just having a PDF model doesn't work, because just like you said with the amazing quiz you have and the carb the carb freebie
thing.
The carb curve, it's like, that's amazing, but the same philosophy. So we're going to just go on your what we call level 1 client. This is what we call stage 1 through 3 issues. There's weight, there's the belly weight, there's, oh my, my body has just changed. I don't even know what's going on. I love my pizza on Friday. I watch this on Sunday. I don't want to give this up. It's a lot of these, I come out of work, I just come home and I need to have this, whatever all of this is for them. It's kind of these unknown things. There's not a problem. They know these words, inflammation. They know these words that have been told, like, we've got some high cholesterol. It's nothing to worry about. Your sugars are a little high, but it's nothing to worry about. Stage 1 through 3 levels. Stage 1 through 3 problems. Everyone knows these. We live in a world where we have a lot of information. We're told a lot of things. Like, if you've got a little psoriasis, which is not uncommon, I would say all the guys who came to me, it's not uncommon. Psoriasis or eczema around the general area. They've always had a little toenail fungus or athlete's foot. But so they're told a lot of information. When we go to level 4, 5, and 6, this is when now they've crossed over. There's a problem. They knew all these things, athlete's foot and blah, 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 and inflammation. And, I don't know why I'm getting this red rash. I all of a sudden turned like 40. They're seeing these changes. They know these things, like, is my testosterone off? So all these things that are at the higher level talk, but no one's connecting it. So at stage 1, we're like, hey, come into my ecosystem. I'm going to help you connect all these higher things that people talk about. We're going to talk about metabolism. We're going to talk, but I'm going to meet you right now at the 7-day clean eating, because we're just going to go really simple. But in that teaching series of 3, if you wanted to really close it down, I personally would do 7 videos. Okay. I would do 7 8-minute videos. Loom.com, you can record them. Zoom. You're an SEO computer guy already, so I'm sure you know a lot of these simple platforms. But when we keep them at a max of 8 minutes, you're saying, okay, so on this day, you're teaching on the exact freebie, which one kills many birds with one stone. You're walking, you're going, hey, I know you just trusted me. I know that you have been seeing me talk about this mini story 1 that we talked about before we were recording. Hey, when I was really struggling with this is what happened to me. This is how I, deal with it. I know many people who are my friends come to me often and say, Mike, how do you keep your body so fit? What do you do? Like, what is the secret that you have? This is what I do. Here's a tip 1, tip 2, tip 3. Hey guys, these are what we call the pre-buzz, the pre-teaching, the stories that insert into our solution. The solution come to this course. Guys, not only have I given you the 7-day clean eating crash course, I'm giving you these many steps so you don't fall in your 24 hours, because you live in a world of information. So in that, you can be like, day 1, we're going to cover this. This is how you can make this in less than 5 minutes. Come in my kitchen with me the next day.
All right. Okay.
You know what? When you're having these carb times, I want you to check your stress levels, because your stress levels can feed into your cortisol, which can mess with your sugars. And so you're
Insulin, yeah.
you're leading what is called the value ladder. You're leading them in the story, because they're like, on day 2, they're going to say, I can't, he just blew me away. It's all the stuff that you know. It's all the stuff that we were talking about before we recorded. The berberine, all the things, the blood sugar testing, all the things that we've had to learn because we struggled in that area. We're like, why am I tired? My goal is, I like 24/7 energy. I know from our talk, you're the same way. That's what your ideal client, these dads, these guys who are coming to you, that's what they're seeing. So you just got to bring them in the value ladder and teach them, hey guys, we're starting here, but this is where I'm taking you. I'm taking you here. Right. You've got full control over your 24 hours. You want to have that pizza? It's fine. I'm going to show you how to biohack this. I'm going to show you exactly these steps, so you're not living on this one diet. I'm going to teach you your carb solution. So I would do these little 7-day and really walk them through, like, hey, it's really not simple. I mean, it's really not difficult. It's really not difficult. So many guys say, why did I just gain this weight? I just gained 5 pounds. Let me break this down. Here's your metabolism makeover for this day. Let's just break it down on how simple. It's this real calculated system. Okay, if you want to reset today, if you feel like, because I don't want you to live on a diet or feel that you can never live your life, I want to bring you back to owning your body. And you're really imprinting then a brand vision, which always trumps the niche. And that's the thing where coaches, we've gotten stuck. We're like, I've got to go on my niche. Well, yes, you do. But at the same time, you have to know the hero journey. You have to know the value ladder. You have to step back and focus more on the ideal client and where they are and where they're getting tripped up and the different personalities. And then you're going to close it down always, because that's the empathy part that you already have nailed. Because if we are, you don't have to exercise that part. Now it's actually bringing that and not bringing it into, the part where I've got to have this, and going, wait, I do this naturally. If I step back and say, what are the problems that everyone asks me? Then you bring it in. Then you're leading them to that 21-day clean eating, which can be used in multiple ways. Because if we go with one of the people who I bought from in the beginning, Uriel Keim, and who teaches this system today, which is quite costly for many people, but what he teaches is what he did. He had these low cost offers. That person, this is where, and I will take a picture after. I always draw in pictures. They come in the 7. They may want to do it yourself because they don't trust you enough yet. Right. But the same do it yourself can be your 30-day level 1 that you teach your one-on-one. This is how I built my business. I was like, okay, so really my one-on-one should mirror my do-it-yourselves. That's how we take one phone call and we say, I get that maybe you're not ready to commit to a 30-day for whatever reason. Maybe it is financial, and really listening to people instead of forcing them to go into what we've been sold. That's sales. You should be doing this 12-week. You should do this 6-month. That's sales. But when we go when we sell from the soul, we say, okay, well, maybe they're scared. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they've got, their wife is going through depression right now. Maybe they've got a host
There's
of
a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Yeah, their life. Really listening. That person might say, you know what? I do want to do a 30-day with you. This is just where I'm really stuck. No problem. Let's make this so the first time I'm on the phone with you, and then we can make that next session where we're doing this with you and your wife. How would that feel? And then I can also work with your wife on another session where I hear from her like where things are stuck. And all of a sudden, that person who didn't think they would be doing a 30 says, can we do that in 3 months? And you're like, yeah, would that feel good to really make that? So that's why it's like we have to sometimes let go of the plan and really listen, but we craft it so we have the materials there, because no one
Right.
is the same. So somebody can do a do-it-yourself. You can use that right on your site. You have a do-it-yourself. Hey, if you've done this 7-day, immediately leads into that. Here's 2 options. You can do it yourself. Another option is we could do this together and really change your life. We could change not only your life, but, I can help you to change the system in your family so that the game really changes for you.
Okay.
Level 1. If you wanted to do this again, then what is really level 2? What Cece did and what I was saying to you is.
Oh yeah. Okay. I read that. Yeah.
Level 2 may be, and then I will let you go because I know. Level 2 may be, yes, your 12-week program. You have, your 8-week that you took from Primal, which was their 12-week. That may be the 8-week. That may be for you a level 3. You might find
What I did was I took Primal and I mixed in Dr. Berg's keto thing, but it's not keto, it's just low carb.
Yep.
And I kind of combined the 2 and made my own program with it. So it's a lot of intermittent fasting in there as well, that they do. And then depending on their level of commitment, we go on different paths in the intermittent fasting. Yeah.
You are, first of all, let me just say, you're speaking my love language. I look at it, I'm like, what time is it? No, I haven't eaten because I have everything. Like that's how, for me, that did reset my autoimmune. I found Terry Walls years ago when I was in my struggle. Because we are all searchers. I would say my gut feeling, that's your level 3 person. That's what I was saying. That person who is like, take me there. And that's where you're going to start feeding in these different problems. Hey, I do work with people who have this massive inflammation. This is what this looks like. Do that in a video. It's not the copy. It's the video. It's going to build the trust. And you put that on YouTube so that you also start building search engine optimization. And then you're feeding in a whole ecosystem in the very things that you master and that you've done for these huge companies, you bring into your own ecosystem.
Right.
And so I feel like that's probably going to be your third level. But again, you don't ever know, is that maybe the second level, and one is the 21-day clean eating. Maybe the second level is really more of this mid step before they jump, or you might find that once they go through that second step of the 21-day, you can funnel them off of just one. Because I had all these different funnels based on this, is that you funnel them and really they become these mini funnels.
Right.
One becomes the 8-week, because that is the person. Maybe you find
those, that the programs like the 7-day and the 21-day, the recipes and stuff are like, do guys like this stuff, or is it like recipes like quinoa and chickpeas?
No, clean eating, when I say because also
it's getting rid of the like the canola oils and all that crap. Yeah.
It's just getting rid of the basic junk. The thing is, the reason that everyone loves the 21-day clean eating is it's not saying to somebody, oh, you need to do this. It's like, listen, let's opt for coconut oil, because at this high temperature of olive oil, I would say that probably I'll just tell you what I did, and maybe this will really help, is that I created that 14-day paleo because I felt that for my autoimmune, for my liver and gallbladder issue, for so many things that I always talked about, I had all these coaches when I was in IN coming to me when that paleo craze happened. So this is back in 2010, but everyone only took the craze, but not what paleo was about. Paleo was about going primal. It's about getting back to our roots. And so, but I realized that people didn't listen. So they overdid nuts. They overdid all these things that they overdid the cheese, they overdid the bacon, and they didn't bring in enough greens. So then I created that paleo program. That was for the person who wasn't willing to detox, because not everyone, as I said, is willing to do. And I mean like simple detox. I mean, I worked corporate and did this, but I realized, everyone's got their stuff. So that's when I did that paleo. I've had a lot of people take that paleo and turn it into a long program. I've had, if you wanted to really say, this is inflammation, this is sugar, but not even call it paleo. Because we hear that and we go, oh my God, I'm never going to eat this. You're like, this is the reset. And that's where
that's why I didn't want to say like a keto thing, because people are freaked out about it. Yeah.
Yep. So I would say as a starting point, if we didn't get in, to building the entire business, I think that the 7-day clean eating and the 21 give you a really simple baseline. Like even just start. If you were like, you know what, I want to have something other than my 8-week, which is kind of a lesser commitment, then I would say that we could, just define exactly, not even look at the program, but define really like what you want to teach. Is it energy? Is it like really go at more of solving the problem for them and focusing less on like the food modality? Because I think you're going to feed that in no matter what you're doing, because your 8 weeks solves that big problem. And that's stage 4 for you. You're taking them stage 1. So when we talk about the hero journey of your client, we're at level 1. Level 2, you're probably going to bring in some intermittent fasting for that person. And they're going to be like, oh my God, I want more.
Right.
I do have, CC Weiss took the keto program. And she took out all the keto. No, actually, they said, I want to do keto. They were like, oh my God, we don't want to stop. And she said, what do you guys want to do? And they were like, we've heard so much about keto. So they asked for it, but you could reframe if you wanted and not reinvent the wheel, because it really, I can't tell you, I probably had 70 coaches, I would say very often women dealing perimenopause, women who are more like, it is for me, it's a high protein, low sugar, low carb. You could just refurbish that with very little work and really focus and say high protein, and take that exact formula in that program, because the recipes aren't keto-ish. I put in a lot of greens, but you could even add in more and take away all the nutritional values, because that gets people freaked, especially in the keto. You got to they're like, wait, I'm eating this much fat. You're like, it's going to save your life. It's going to change your life. Promise. But it's hard for people to understand that. So that I think could really be your mid, and get out of, this labels. I think that's really what I hear. It's more teaching them how to change their life through some very simple techniques that have always been around, but we've abandoned because we've gone into this labeling.
Right. And then right now, like my 8-week program is in that, I made it in Thinkific, whatever it's called.
Thinkific.
And what was that?
Thinkific.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering like the 7 and the 21 would be probably done through it, and it just drips out each day. Is that right?
You could do, definitely. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you're in a system that works for you, don't start adding these other systems, because it will complicate it. 2, you want to have everything in one place. And it keeps them in that one place. It also is very simple. Thinkific is the way that we're now processing information anyway. So whether it's Teachable, Thinkific, Kajabi, any platform, I would keep it there because it's easy for people to digest. You can put the video right there. You can have them, you can drip it out. And yes, it's evergreen. That then leads to, emails that say, let's hop on a call, even at each day. I would keep everything in there. Don't deviate. If you don't have an email marketing yet, or I do like ConvertKit because you can really grow. You can start free and you can grow. And I think that it's also much more intuitive than ActiveCampaign and a lot of these other. I mean, I've been with Infusionsoft, so I've learned it. But I think also there's not one best tool. It's how your brain works.
Yes.
I'm used to, I build this way, so why Infusionsoft works for me. I don't build funnels. I don't build email funnels this way. So when I tried ActiveCampaign, it just got me stuck. So that's why I would say, if Thinkific works for you, it's an amazing platform.
What? Excuse me. That's what they were using at Primal. So then I just kind of did what they were doing, but then it's what did you say you used for the funnel thing? What did you say it was?
You mean Infusionsoft or the email marketing?
The email marketing. Sorry, yeah.
So what I've gone through, just seen the rise. At one point when I started, there was MailChimp and Constant Contact. There weren't many choices.
Yeah.
I would say that I see some people who love MailChimp. I think just MailChimp is quite expensive for the automation. ConvertKit is what Amy Porterfield suggests. You can start free. And I would say that it's also very intuitive. It's very simple, and you'll never have to leave. You'll never. And what's nice about this is if you do this in ConvertKit, hypothetically, is you could do this just with the landing page on ConvertKit. You can use that one page. You can then bring them in. You could drip it out. You also could drip it out in ConvertKit. In ConvertKit. Like if you didn't want to build everything in Thinkific, but you only wanted your evergreen courses, but not your other, what we call testing freebies.
Right.
Not everything should be, and this is a mistake many people make. The things that should be in your membership are the things that you are using and you know that you're going to use, and that I wouldn't say, yes, that they're proven, even if you go back and tweak it, but not everything. You're still going to be building with other things. So that's what's easy about when you just test. I always say test before you invest. Use ConvertKit. Just build out the emails even sometimes in there. See if it really works. Tweak it before you build out the whole thing in Thinkific.
Right. Oh, yes. Okay. I see.
Yeah. Just that. So let's just say hypothetically, email one, you have the video right on that first welcome email. Hey guys, it's going to be really amazing. Or, hey, hey guys, we're going to be, really changing the game for your life. Whatever you feel you want to say, each video could be really just in the email. Each video could be delivered. Your communication is there. You can still tag them. You can still lead them, in that sequence to even a landing page that you wanted them to a landing page that you make, like, hey, here are the options to work with me, or here's my website. These are the options. You can do a one-on-one, or do it yourself, or come into my crash courses.
Okay.
The more that you simplify the processes, the easier it will be also to build this business, because most of us do build it with an other income, and we don't want to feel fried and insane.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you first get them, they go to the landing page and then they sign up.
Yep.
Let's say that they're just giving you their email address and they're getting that freebie. In that same process, are you doing the selling for the 21 days at the same time as an add-on?
So this is what I always suggest is sometimes there are many different what I call email sequences.
Right.
One of the best that I always say people to look at is the soap opera sequence, because it tells this story, very similar to what I was saying to you on what a video does.
Yeah.
If we were to step back and take the sales and the marketing out of it, how would you want to be sold to? Would you want somebody to go, P.S., you can get this, do it yourself? Or would you want a video where I say, I'm so excited that you just opted into the 7-day cleaning crash course. I know that many of people come to me with the issues 1, 2, 3. I know that changing our diet isn't just about this one aspect. It's
Mm.
about your home. It's about your life. It's about the many areas of your life that can be out of balance, because to have really a complete healthy life, it encompasses these core elements.
Right.
During this crash course, I'm going to show you the basics of these core elements. If you want to click below, we can get on a phone call right away. If you are ready to work with me one-on-one and you want to even see what that looks like. If you're ready and you're like, I'm even blown away by what I see already and just the guide and the content, you know, we can talk about some other ways to work with each other on, you know, less intensive ways or
Hmm.
cost
Hmm.
effective ways, even just meet people. I I would say that I don't ever sell in the welcome. I feel like that's a little of like, get to know me, understand what I'm about.
Yeah.
I do a PS like on the second email where it's like, or I do even a old school hit reply, because that doesn't require somebody. I know it takes us out of automation, but we're not automated people. People sometimes are
Yeah.
like, should I schedule? But it's like when you just say, have you ever struggled with? Clients come to me and they've got like this 10 pounds of weight and they don't even know what they've done. They feel like they just woke up, they turned 40, 47, because we do change. Like,
Right.
have you been struggling with this? Just hit reply. And that email can come to you. You can have that quiz. Then you get them automated and asking them, where are you? Have you been struggling with energy? How's your sex life? How is your sleep? How's this? Really hit basic. Then you can start to micro these conversations so that you are still being automated, but you're really, you know, asking them, hey, just answer a few questions so that I don't slam you with emails that you don't want. You can drip it out. There's 2 philosophies. You can drip it out in the same, you know, in this time and where people are. Do they just want to binge watch? Sometimes they just want to binge watch. That's
Mm.
why they're different
Oh yeah. Yeah.
approaches. So imagine you come in and you're like, jaw drops right in, because they're like, did I just seriously put one email in? And he just like rocked my world that I can watch this, my wife can watch this, or my partner, you know, or, oh my God, you know, I found this guy, I've got these college roommates, we're all stuck, whoever your people are. You know, I mean, I say wife, but when I mean like wife, partner, whatever it is, you
Yeah.
know, or, you know, a brother and a sister, just in their ecosystem of their life. And you just wow.
Well, yeah, I think that that's um, like for me, for example, um, I need to like I need to be surprised or I need to be like slapped or something to keep me interested, right? So if I think if it's all given to me in one shot, then I might just skip ahead and do the what interests me the most. But I also I want to like, so for example, like there's this guy doing this kind of a low carb thing right now that that I joined, and I find that the nothing is making me
Did you
interested. So
join in
I
a Facebook group, or
huh?
did you join in a Facebook group and do this?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was saying. The difference between a course. You are you are them micro teaching them the steps. Even if someone goes to 7 and they're like, I just have to see what 7 is about. You're not feeding them. You're making this evergreen. You're not bringing them into a Facebook group. That's noise. And if it's
Yeah.
not structured, he's just coming in and he's like, okay, what did you do today? How many carbs? And you're like, all right, it's the same thing I could literally download for free. What you're doing is you're micro teaching. You're teaching in these videos that are high value. And you're like, here, start here, step 1. Step 2 is teaching you about this. Step 3 is teaching that you are formatting it. You're taking the content that we have and you're adding this special twist to it. Just like I said, if I were doing this, I would be hammering on, clean eating. Then I would go into, sugars and metabolism. I would go into gut and the essentials of probiotics. I would talk about weight loss and cortisol levels and stress. I would talk about sleep habits. I would drill down on my whole, everything I talk
all that stuff. Yeah.
I would mini teach on the, what I call higher level, so that people are like, wow, I can't imagine what it would be like to go to the next level. Because in this time right now,
you get an appetite. Yeah.
Why shouldn't you talk about in the 7-day? You're giving them a low thing that is tangible and easy for them to do. But you're like, let's talk about adrenals right now. We're all in stress all the time. Right now, if you're watching this in April. Right now, we are experiencing a pandemic, but are we always in fight and flight? Let's talk about that.
Right.
Because the truth is, and this is why before we recorded, I said, I sat for an hour and a half talking to one of my people who bought detoxes from me from day one, the first one I ever put out in 2012, that were the ones that I did in my business. And I would always say to every coach, if you're teaching singular, you've really lost it. You're not understanding coaching, because that person is coming to you not just for this one thing. They're like, I just trusted you. I just went on a first date with you. Because if we really look at it as a funnel, is just, you see someone at a bar or you see somebody wherever, you're interested. That's the story before. That's the social media. That's the YouTube video. How sometimes people have to watch and stalk you for 365 days. Some people get the message so clear that they're like, he just literally, is he in my head? This is how I feel. Because we talk about all of those things. And then when they come in, that's actually your first date. So the first date, you're not asking them to marry you. You're like, let's get to know each other. Let me ask you some questions about yourself. The second is like, it was really awesome. Now you're here. Let me tell you a little more about myself. You unleash a little more. The fourth, everyone's got that cycle of let me in the personal, but if we took this to business, it's no different. Let me show you what it's really looked like to work with me. Let me show you all the things that I can teach you. I know I want you to do on this 7-day clean eating, but let me tie this into your sleep habits, your sex drive, the belly fat, all the things that you want, the abs. How do we get there? How do we get to what you want? I'm going to reverse engineer into all the stuff that I have in this 8-week program that I know is the ultimate. I'm going to talk a little about intermittent fasting. Maybe you've heard about intermittent fasting. I know it seems so mind-boggling, but so you're teaching them in this one teaching series how epic it would be like to stay in your customer life cycle. And so what I mean from that is it becomes actually organic. It's like in the email, you're like, hey, want to hop on a call with me? We can talk about what it would be like to work with me. That's why I said earlier, that one-on-one call is what your LCOM talks about. It's what I've always done. It's what I've always taught. It is the old style sales. We've replaced it with, should I do this on this email? But it's more like, how does your client behavior? Like, when do they want to get on a phone call with you? And if they don't, you can even say, hey, so I see you didn't get on a phone call. It's, no problem. Let's just teach this. Let me go through this course. And at the end, you can even say, was this amazing? Imagine what it would be like to work with me. Here are the ways to work with me. This is how I've helped people. This is how I've helped myself. Hop on a one-on-one call. If you're not ready for that, it's okay. I have this do-it-yourself crash course.
Right.
I teach this system.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And the reason, and again, I'm sorry if it took a while. The reason I always talk the big vision is you can't understand the freebie unless you understand the big vision. That's why when we were going through like level 1 client, level 2, level 3, this is where we've all missed it. This is the part that we're like, this freebie isn't working. It's not working because we haven't nailed down the signature process. We haven't nailed down the hero journey for a client and what that looks like. And you know that it's really not so complicated, because when you know where you want to take them, it's actually just more what you're saying to them in those emails. And then you're changing it as you get that feedback. Just as you said, I've changed my copy like 10 times over. I can't tell you how many times I changed my site. I would go to my husband and say, can you look at this? He would say, I just looked at this yesterday, but I changed everything.
Yeah.
And that's the part that no one talks about. It's a lot of changing it, because sometimes what we envision our business is going to be like, we're like, wow, and I'll just, close with this, is I started as an emotional eating coach and a gut coach, because my anxiety and all of these things that I talked about, and I remembered my first anxiety attack at like 3, having a panic attack. I've always shared that. I've always said, if you're an overthinker, if you're like me, this is where I get screwed up in my day. And so I thought that, wow, people would really get gut. And I did attract the emotional eater, but I worked with like these teams with kids with Renfrew, and it was just, it's a hospital where they were really eating disordered. I wasn't talking eating disordered. I was talking about stress eating, emotional eating, like eating the potato chips and the stuff that you and I were talking about.
Right.
To make a long story short, I realized people didn't even understand gut. I would say not until even this crisis in this pandemic are we getting the major news articles, the big like New York Times being like, you have to understand gut and your microbiome. We talked about this for 10 years, but people still don't understand. So I started talking about the basics, a connected gut. And I would say, guys, I used to get food allergies. I used to have this, I would wake up and I would have an extra 4 pounds, because that's inflammation. And somebody would say, oh my God, that happens to me. And so I started realizing that how I was saying things wasn't the way they were actually thinking. And that in that pain of almost quitting, because I wasn't making the money I needed to make, I realized I had actually not listened enough. And so that's what I mean about your freebies, is that you're going to understand the client language, because you're going to show up and you're going to start sharing about the problems, and you're going to get people messaging you and DMing you saying, I have to work with you, because you're going to go in the heart-based soul selling that we talked about. The funnels are going to work because you're talking about the problems. The funnels work when you are connecting the dots. When you're connecting the dots on everything we talked about, the stress, the exercise, the sleep, the mindset, the everything of the 24-hour day. That's how simple.
Yeah.
Like just talk, and I swear to God, you'll have clients.
Yeah, I think it's like when I went through that primal health coach training, you come out with this kind of generic primal paleo kind of idea, and then you start to say, well, what is your niche, right? And then you're like, okay, well, it's like, how did those other people get the niche when they just took the same program that I took, right? So then it's like, okay, so then I look at my own personal history, and then I look at like, male over 50, dewy, aging body, it's hips stressed, anxiety from the litigation, all these things. And then it's like, okay, is it do I need to take
Yes,
another
yeah,
specialization in like
yeah,
autoimmune,
yeah.
all these things, right? And then, that's where it's like, it's putting it all together, and then it's trying to figure out who to deal with. And then it's like, do I deal with people that, they went through litigation or are going through litigation?
Well, and that's, I would say, in conclusion of this
yeah,
talk, and that's why I even said when we were doing just the strategy session on what programs to get, I said to you, can we record this?
yeah,
Because where it's broken is that how I was taught 10 years ago was connecting with people. And we did talk about niche, but it was more like show up, show up. And back then there were no platforms. There was very simple. There was Facebook and there was YouTube.
mm-hmm.
I mean, there was Twitter. um, and the reason that I say we don't know our niche, we can't just know our niche when we come out of school. Everyone has the
yeah,
same problem, no matter what school, no matter what
yeah,
accolades, no matter anything, because we have to actually start showing up to really see what our people want. And we have to stop overthinking. We have to start
mm-hmm.
talking. We have to start
yeah,
talking and getting people right on the phone and saying things like, guys, I'm so excited. I'm working on this 7-day clean eating crash course or the 7-day cleaning course, because so many guys have been reaching out to me who struggle with the following.
oh,
If
I
you're
see, yeah,
struggling with the following, send me a personal message right now on Facebook. If you're hearing this on, my Instagram or my IGTV, because it does have a clickable there. What is taught right now are these blueprints and these roadmaps, but we're not taught communication. If we really go back to how do we build sustainable businesses out of any, how do we build brands,
mm-hmm.
as I said to you earlier, trump niches. It's not about that. You're building this different vision for men to have the bodies that they want, to not feel overwhelmed, to not have their stress kill them in their day, to
Mm-hmm.
not have their overwhelm leave them with sleepless nights where they are eating for energy with the crap foods that we go to that give us quick energy.
Right,
You're giving men a voice in a society where we are taught, just keep it quiet, suffer. And then what? The guy suffers. He starts losing his hair. He starts ripping through his testosterone. Everything falls apart. He doesn't have the same intimacy with his partner. He doesn't have the same intimacy with his life, his
mm-hmm.
coworkers, his friends, his children, his parents, because he starts to feel insecure. He's
yeah.
getting older. It sucks. Let's just say it sucks to get older. It's
Well,
really,
it's like I was almost saying like he lost his color, like
yeah.
his the cartoon is now black and white, right? Like, yeah,
It's like if we took just this and you snip at that part, it's all of that. He is no different. He's a human. He's a human
mm-hmm.
being. Human beings don't want to gain weight. Human beings are stressed. Human beings feel overwhelmed. It's not about the litigation. It's not about like all the things of your personal story that we talked about. My story is different from you.
yeah,
But the things that you had shared with me before we started recording, I said, I'm your people. I would hire you literally because you were like, yep, I was dealing with this stress during this pandemic. This is what happened. I started doing this. I did this before. I'm a black and white kind of person. I like structure and strategies to be there because I do tend to get overwhelmed. This is how I handle them. The majority of the people out there handle stress in a different way. They look at me and they're like, but you did just talk about binging. You're like, but yeah, I've got these strategies because I don't want to gain weight. I really adore my physique. I like looking at my body in the mirror and going, damn.
not so bad.
Yeah, like and I'll just tell you even a personal story. My husband had brought in these pictures earlier of this, we're all cleaning house right now. And he was like, oh, look at these pictures. So it was 4 years ago that he took these pictures. And I said, wait, let me see this picture. And he was like, why? And I said, okay, I know what I need to do. And he was like, don't tell me you just examined your body. I said, look, I have no shame in saying, I want to look at myself in the mirror and go, damn, I would be with you, girl. I would straight up be
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, yeah.
Because
I do you.
right. Like that's how I've always been. And why should I feel ashamed about that? I do have
Yeah.
structure. I don't let my body get that way. Right now, I am doing the same as I did when I had babies. I couldn't leave the house. I've got bands, I'm doing sit-ups, push-ups, all that stuff. I'm on rebounders. I refuse to let this take me down. And when I do
Yeah.
stress, guess what? I know how to biohack that. I know how to do
Mm.
intermittent fasting. I know how to do all these cool things. So guess what, homies? When you come into this 7-day crash course, come into my ecosystem, come into my life, because I'm not going to let you down. I don't want you to lose weight. I don't want you to age. I don't want you to feel insecure. I want you to go back to the OG days, the days where you felt, and if you weren't there, I want to help you get there, because I do like looking at myself in the mirror. I do enjoy being age this. And what's bad about saying we don't want to age? Anne Louise Gittleman talks about it all the time. Reed Davis always says to me, I never had anything wrong with me. I just like to be able to travel and have no jet lag. I like to be able to sleep like a champ. I like to have the energy to be able to go take a 6-mile run hike if I wanted to. I like choice.
Yeah.
And the day that he said that to me, I was like, oh my God, I know why I'm so in love with you, because it is that simple. It's our human, it's really our birthright. That's it.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's like never stopping and keep doing things right and learning and
It's
all of
just,
that stuff,
don't
right?
overthink
Yeah.
it. I mean, that's why I would say in conclusion, it's like, if we're really just talking about what really is the problem, all the other strategies and modalities, whether you're raw, keto, vegan, macrobiotic, I mean, the list goes on, paleo-ish, keto-ish, intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
juicing, fruits and vegetables, it doesn't matter. That's your modality and your strategy and your process. The verbiage is all still the same. People buy you because they identify with what you're saying, because you're raw, you're real, because you said something that they feel, because you've given a voice to something they've stuffed so deep inside. And they're like, that's it. Oh my God, that's it. My hair's falling out. And like, he's talking about, like testosterone and all these cool things he learned in school and all these cool things he does. Wow, I should follow him. He's got great hair. What's he doing?
Yeah, exactly.
That's simple,
Actually, it's that's funny that because I'm 54 and I don't have any gray hair.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes, and I've got all my hair.
Right. So,
So I'm like,
I mean, look, I would say that's what people want.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We overthink the most basic, because when you really talk about that, I mean, come on. I've been saying to people lately, listen, yeah, if you can teach me a course on how to do your nails right now, because I love having my nails done. If you can teach me, I didn't start, bless you. I didn't start having to color my hair until I think I was like, I'm 45 right now, 39. And people, as women, that's a late age. And they were like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? I would always talk about, this is blood building. Do you know Lance Armstrong? Like, why do you think he did blood doping? So people would be like, oh my God, I have to work with you. And I was like, great. We are going to rebuild your blood, because you lose blood. You had a baby. If you didn't have a baby, maybe you're a stressor. Maybe you're an autoimmuner. I just was like, okay, let's talk about the stuff that we're all struggling with. But everyone's like, you should be doing this. It's like, okay, you don't want this hair? Let me just come into my world. I won't drop you, girlfriend. You want to bring your homie? I won't drop you guys. I worked with a lot of people, and that's why I realized that perfect pitch and that perfect niche. And I work with people between these ages. I realized everyone wanted what I had. And if they didn't, I wasn't their ideal person. But I worked with a lot of people because I was like, these are the problems I see in the world. That's what I mean, brand vision. This is where I got stuck. I wish this was around when I got stuck. This is where I get stuck. This is how to help you get unstuck. And I worked with people at all different ages because I would work with a woman, and then I would work with their husband. Then I would work with
Mm.
their family. Then I would work with their kids, because I always would talk about, I had kids with massive food allergies, early intervention because of my own story and stuff. Heavy
Mm.
metals, fungus,
Yeah.
Cardia, EBV, all the stuff, the asthma, all the stuff that I share. People would be like, I heard you do you work in food allergies. And I was like, no, I mean, I have that on my site as part of my story. And they're like, but you help your kids. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I can help you do what I do. And they would be
Yeah.
like, I heard that you help people with adrenal. And I'm like, what? And they're like, I heard you talk about adrenal fatigue and athletes. It's because I grew up as a competitive swimmer, and sports, drain, drain, drain. And that's how I dealt with my stress. I was a gym rat, 3-4 hours.
Mm.
Just that's how I dealt with my anxiety, my stress, my old stories, my rage, my stuff. And I would be like, yeah, well, that's because we are just pushing our adrenals. And all of a sudden I created an adrenal program because I was like, I'm teaching at all these gyms. You guys are all bags in your eyes like me. Why don't we fix this? Not with like a claim, like, let me tell you what's happening to you right now. You're burning, and you're refilling with the perfect this, but not actually refilling with like Dr. Wilson. And I wish when I was swimming that my mom would have known to give me these
To do this.
the blood building the core primal foods, the bone broth, the blackstrap molasses, all these things that we're learning. And people are like, oh yeah, I'm not getting this. I'm not this. I haven't pooped in a week. I started talking about these things, and people were like, can I talk to you? I know that you teach about weight loss here, and you talk a little about detox. I don't understand what you're talking about with this lymphatic system, but I haven't pooped in a week. I said, you haven't what? Stellar bodies. I mean, serious, and you know this, like sculpted, stellar, A-type, nothing even wrong with the food, but they weren't pooping. There was nothing left in the tank. They had all the drive, the grit, and all the stuff, all of that. They had the ability, like you and I, we could turn it off and just drive hard. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I realized, okay, so what if I start talking about this? Then all of a sudden, all these guys were like, listen, can I work with you? Because like everything you talk about, I can't tell you how many guys I worked with who I swear to God were given to me from the higher ups because they could have been my brothers. Because when I talked to you, I looked at you and I was like, ain't no different.
Yeah.
Like how you and I talk, and how when I get on the phone with a woman who is military background, or she's in the military, or there is like this just a different type of person. I'm like, oh yeah, you're my person. How do you want to break this down? It's just, I started seeing that if I really just talked about either my internal struggles or what I see as a problem in the world, that was the best list building in the world. And where you bring them is just the solution. Then you take them to the next. Then they get a little fear and they may leave, but they come back because they trust you, because you continue to say the same thing. You continue to dive in these subjects that nobody is willing to dive in because they're so worried. I mean, look, Josh Axe is a perfect example. I talked to him 10 years ago in a market. And I said, look, I'm reaching out to you. We talked on the phone. And he was like, yeah, well, Jordan Rubin's in Florida. And I love him because when my mother had cancer, I was Googling and I found Jordan. And Jordan started to help me understand about the leaky gut. And I was like, when I was sick and I went into Whole Foods, which was Fresh Fields back then, and was hysterically crying because this one chiropractor said, here's this one protocol I've never seen, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's that we all feel deprived of our power. Went in and I was like, this guy told me I've got heavy metals and I've got gut, I've got liver issues, and I've got that. I mean, it was like an endless path. And this one was like, here's this book by Paul Pitchford. Now, this was when I was 25, I'm sorry, 20 years ago. So even before I decided to become a coach. And here's Jordan Rubin. And so when we start talking about our journey, Josh Axe was like, I got into this. I was a chiropractor, but like my mother was struggling. And I thought, how many people are struggling?
Yeah. And he does like, he has a huge investment in content. Like his whole thing is he has so much content. It's crazy. And I think his business is 10 million bucks a year or something or more.
But if we go back to the old Josh Axe, see, this is the thing I always tell people, don't compare yourself to where they are now.
Yeah.
They all started the same way. Everyone started by its content. It's not about blogs. I'm not a big blogger. You and I are communicators. Mm-hmm. If you look at Josh's blogs, it's all video. His content creators make the content and the infographics.
Yeah.
But it was originally, it's just YouTube. It's video. Because the complexity of what we're trying to explain, it has to be in video.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Cool.
I know this turned into a much longer call than we anticipated, but at the same time, this is where we're all broken. We're broken because we're so focused on nailing it down that we let go of really our own daily life. Where are we stuck? Where are people? It's a real simple question. It's a simple process. Where was I stuck? Where did I have this breakdown moment? Mm-hmm. Where did I drop to my knees? What did it look like for me? What did I learn? And what do I teach now? Then the second simple questions. These are how we were taught before. Second is, how do I deal with this now? What still comes up? What do I have to teach? What are the mini steps? And if it's not my problem, like, what do I see? Where do I see the disconnect in the world? Emotionally, physically, if it is spiritually, what does that look like for you? How does that verbiage of your version? Because you're no different than Josh Axe. You're no different than Alejandro Younger. They just at the time came in at really, I'm not saying that they don't have amazing marketing, but they came in really clear at a time that people were really hungry.
Right.
For this information. They changed the game. Now we're at the same time. People are really hungry for transparency, hungry for not being lied to, hungry for not being sold to, hungry because if you look at this, you're breaking down actually the machine. It's really, people are so sick of the machine being sold propaganda, this, lies, all this, whatever that you think is in the system. So we change that. We come out and we flip it. And that is really what coaching is about.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So, no, I'm just thinking, so what I want to do is I'm going to take a look at that 7-day clean eating and the 21-day one. And I'll take a look at those. I looked at them before, but I just want to see them again. And then, so they're up to date, like to like the, 2020, like they were like, I just want to, like, if it's like something from, it was written 7 years ago and then it doesn't make sense anymore. Like
everything that even our gut program, even our adrenal, that is taught on the basics and the fundamentals. So everything that we create, I would say, I haven't ever heard one person say this is outdated. Now we can get into specifics of new information on mitochondria, all that stuff like SIBO, but what is clean eating? This has not changed. This wasn't written 7 years ago, but even if it was 7 years ago, guess what? The same information was out there. That's what's crazy. Is we knew all this. We've always known this. So no, we don't put canola oil. We don't put any of that in. I would say there's some that we do say olive oil, like the clean eating. We say here, we suggest that you do it with this, but getting people to be all nervous to even make food in their kitchen is where we've actually come, because we're so like, don't use this, eat that. I would say that I haven't ever had somebody say that unless they really are micro specialized. And that's why I say to them, there's never going to be a perfect thing when you're micro specialized, because you have your own version of how this is, how you want to have the content really dripped out for you. I have coaches that, do take months to reformat things or put in their own. But I would say what we can do after this is I will send you the 7-day, I will send you a few options. You can look at the keto if you want to look, or even like, well, I'll just say, if you wanted to have this full thing right now that you felt you didn't want to recreate the wheel, here's some options. Then what we'll do again is we'll get on Zoom and we'll actually look at the programs, so that you don't have what I say with everyone, which is why I do these, which is why I, do this personal content, so that contact, so nobody has that buyer beware-ish feeling like, I'm investing a lot of money. This is the same thing I did from day one with my clients. Back in the day, I would say, let's get on Skype. Let's talk with each other, because I worked virtual with a lot of people worldwide. And I'd say, let's get on. Let me show you what I'm going to give you. Does this feel in alignment? Does this feel like this feels good? And they're like, oh my God, that looks amazing. Sign me up.
Yeah.
So
okay. I like
I'll
that.
send this to you. You can digest it. As I always say to coaches, sales is like urgency, like buy it now. I don't do that. I say, digest it. Like, this is building your signature process, which is your soul, and it shouldn't be rushed. So
I think like what we're kind of aligned with as well is that, like, I know that depending on, how serious we are and, what the severity of the problem is, like, so if you have like, autoimmune issues, and maybe you have to become more fussy and more picky. I like, for when I'm getting new people coming down the pipe, or even in my program, I don't get people counting stuff, because I give them guidelines on what to do, but I don't want them.
We don't put new, and one
I don't
thing,
want it too fussy. Otherwise it's not sustainable, right? Like, it's
I
too
don't even
manic.
put nutritional values in there. I tell people, even from the first day of coaching, they're like, how many calories? And I'm like, I just want to ask you, has that worked for you before?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Where did that get you? We've all done, all these different diets. So like, just trust me. That's why my Fitness Pal is there. If you do have, of course, a disease, or you are diabetic, or you're this, that's one thing. But that's the person, as you said, where you're going to have to just say, okay, we are going to take baby steps. It is important for us to work together in my 8-week, because this is where you need to be, but we're going to go baby steps, because when we do get into autoimmune-ish stuff, there are things that you believe, I believe, whatever, that they really do need to get to in baby steps, in little
chunks.
What I'm saying to you is, no, there's no calorie counting there. I do go with what I call more of a Cynthia Pasquarella weight loss approach, like a Janine Roth weight loss approach. Let's teach you the fundamentals. Guess what? You stop eating the junk, you will never count a damn calorie again. I love getting on the scale. That's my personality. But I tell people, don't, if it jacks you up. So
well, and I do that like with some of my clients, but it's like, what are your non-scale wins, right? Like, and that's a big factor. But
the only reason, and I will just go full circle on this, the only program that we have the nutrients on is the keto. We have the 5-day
yeah,
keto.
that makes sense. That's fussy, right? Like,
well, and that's why I say that you could take out all of it. You could take out all the nutrients, all that, because that's where people get messed up. They're like, I shouldn't be eating this much. I shouldn't be. But in conclusion, yes, I'm going to send you a few options, and then you'll just talk to me, and we can get on a Zoom, look at the programs together, screen. After you digest, brainstorm, kind of just even give yourself 24 hours to go, does this feel right? And then we can talk again. It's a real simple process.
Okay, I like it. Good. I'm going to jump on another call now too, because I have there's a lady that I met in Puerto Vallarta that teaches yoga. And so she does online classes now. So she's doing a little core class at coming up at 1 o'clock. And so half an hour, little blast class on the core.
Last
So
tip for all of us during this. She's the exact person you want to say, hey, you want to do something together? She has a list.
oh yeah.
And that's what I've been telling people. This is actually the strategy that I've always used. And we're like, oh, I have to build everything. Well, everyone's struggling right now. She's doing her online classes. You adore her. You met her. You're trusting her. Reach out. Start building those relationships, because this is how we're all going to change. Not struggling financially, is we all are going to feed in to those who are either struggling or have a list. And you're like, I can solve a problem. I can bring the program. You can teach yoga. We can do this in synergy together. And that's also how we can change this, what's really going to be in the next 2 years, but also can just change the struggle. We don't have to struggle. So
good.
Go and have your class. Lots of things. It was, thank you for going through this long talk with me, but I'm so, thankful. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and all your information, and I'll be in touch. Okay.
All right.
Perfect.